Guess where I'm at? Leon, Guanajuato, right behind me. I'm at a tourist location. It's a monument dedicated to a man called Pipila. And over there, you're going to see the University of Guanajuato. Now, if you're going to visit Guanajuato, I recommend not staying in an Airbnb, but staying in a hotel. It's easier to navigate the town, especially El Centro. You want to get a hotel that's in the center of everything. The streets are so narrow that it's really hard to navigate through car. So if you can avoid taxi or Uber, that would be your best approach to seeing the city. Now around El Centro, there's a lot of alleyways. There's also small streets. And the nightlight and during the weekend is really busy. This was a Sunday, but there was also an event going on in Guanajuato, which brought a lot of visitors into town. So I had been to Guanajuato before, but I never did a tour. And I did a tour that took us to a few museums, and one in particular was La Casa de los Elementos, which is the one you're seeing right now. So I had no clue what kind of museum this was until I walked in and I saw the guide dressed as Dracula, and I'm like, what kind of museum is this? And then, what did I walk into? You know where I walked into? A serial killer's house. A person who killed 18 women and 10 men because he lost his wife in a tragic accident in town. He would go into town by himself, but this one time that he took his wife into town, she gets killed by someone and they don't find this person. Now, Fulgencio leaves a diary that describes all the killings and why he did it. He would spend hours playing his piano in his dungeon. Now, the town finally finds out what he's up to, but because he was very wealthy, one of the wealthiest persons there in town, they didn't do anything to him. They just told him to stop. Now, that's a real mummy from one of his workers. And how he dies is he kills himself. Now, if I know I'm going to go somewhere and there's a mine, I definitely want to check it out. That's why I did the tour here in Guanajuato. This one was pretty cool. It tells you the history. Now, this mine is not that big compared to other ones I've been to, like the one in Bisbee, Arizona. Now, this location is still active. They're still extracting minerals. I believe they have a contract with the Canadians for like 50 years. Can you just imagine being in the dark trying to extract minerals for hours? Blessed is the Mother Earth. And I picked a few items because I love the energy. But as you can see here, you have some, it looks like yellow calcite, different kind of calcite over there. Some quartz. I guess also they have selenite mixed with quartz, but just beautiful stuff. I get really excited when I'm around crystals. Now let's go and check out a castle. I'm so excited for this location. Now this castle is at least 15 or 20 minutes away from the city. I definitely wanted to check out this hotel, not only because of the history, but also is known for having paranormal activity. So if you have time, Google this location. And I highly recommend not eating at the restaurant. I mean, the food wasn't that great and it was a little pricey. I would just suggest getting a drink there. You can check out the hotel, you can walk around, but as long as you don't go into the lobby where all the rooms are at, you're okay. There is this one area where they have in display swords, and I didn't take the time to read about it. But they also have like these armor suits, and I'm thinking they're kind of replica because they're just too well made. I was just glancing through, and yeah, I didn't take my time to read about it. I wanted to also add that in Guanajuato, there is a museum from Diego Rivera that I highly recommend, and it's like 3 stories high. They have a lot of his furniture when he was young, and I think it's really interesting looking at the artifacts of that era. So we had heard that there was a Jose Alfredo Jimenez museum and his tombstone, so we wanted to go check that out. But what we did was we didn't do the tour. Instead, we got an Uber when we went to San Miguel de Allende. We took an Uber from there to Dolores, which was about an hour and a half of travel. Now, the tombstone of Jose Alfredo Jimenez is another tourist attraction, as well as his museum. Now, his tombstone does get pretty crowded, so just wait a few minutes there and they'll start clearing out. There is not much to see besides a tombstone. Overall, I think it's a good experience just because his tombstone's so big and they decorated it very well. Now we're in Dolores town where the Jose Alfredo Jimenez Museum is at. And this museum, you can finish it within like 20 minutes. There's really not that much to see, and it's not that big. I wish they had more of his clothing or other artifacts that he might have used during his career. Definitely, Guanajuato has a lot of museums, and the most expensive one is the Mummy Museum. It's like 90 pesos. The other ones range about 40, 50 pesos to go inside. But also, Dolores had about two or three museums. I didn't check all of them out. I just did the Jose Alfredo Jimenez and the Independence Museum. I was just amazed to see a ball and chain and old handcuffs. This is the stuff you see in movies. So I was actually very surprised and I really like this museum a lot. Make sure you hit that mercado in that town, Dolores. You know I love mercados. Make sure you hit that like and follow on my YouTube channel so you stay tuned on my next adventure.